Welcome guys! This is my first video in my How to Win strategy series, which will provide you with step-by-step strategy to consistently win or get far in PUBG games. This guide specifically is about the early game and getting a good start, thereby getting the best conditions to win the game. These tips are based on over 1500 hours of playing, a massive time spent analyzing the game, and countless chicken dinners. The drop. Before you drop out of the plane, you need to know the different risk classes of the different drops and consequently the risk of going to different places in relation to the plane path. Dropping 1600 meters or less away from the plane path is in the high risk zone, as everyone can reach any location here regardless of opening a parachute early or getting a vehicle or not. Dropping between 1600 meters and 2000 meters is medium risk. Most people don't open their chute right away, but some open a bit before to go those extra meters. Dropping here is often okay, but not completely without risk. Dropping 2000 meters or more away from the plane will get you down in a low risk zone. Dropping down earlier and driving here is also an option, however in most cases using your parachute is a great choice. It will take you some time to get this far away from the plane path, however being able to loot without any problems is worth the time spent traveling. In this particular example, I would probably go for one of these marked locations, as these places will provide you with enough loot to transition with good gear into the mid-game. You have to remember that getting decent armor, weapons and healing is drastically going to increase your odds of winning. As you drop from the plane, you have to spot for enemy parachutes. Someone else might be headed to your location, and if that's the case, you should consider changing starting location, as early encounters is highly affected by loot luck, and you don't want to make that gamble. Also draw a mental picture of enemy positions while flying, so you know which places are already looted if you need to loot some more later on. Also spot for enemies driving in vehicles and take notes as to where they are going. Finally, you need to look for vehicle spawns near the place you're dropping. This is highly important as vehicles are super important in PUBG. Depending on the circles, you might not need one at all, but you certainly need to know where they are if you do. If it makes sense, you can grab a vehicle and drive to the last part of your looting location. If you're long jumping parallel to a road, be very aware that enemies will be able to drive to your location faster than you can fly in a parachute. However, if crossing the map while flying, a vehicle is far less likely to beat you. And like I said, avoid the early game fights, because not only are those affected greatly by loot luck, as getting the better weapon and armor in those initial seconds will mean everything, but fighting is also going to take away time from your looting phase. Make sure that when you loot, Focus on that and get yourself some great gear that you can win the game with. If the looting phase is performed optimally, you should be able to stop looting and drive directly to the center of circle number 2 at the very moment it shows on the map. Perform this and you will have entered the mid-game geared and in a super strong strategical position. So in summary, loot 2000 meters or more away from the plane. Avoid fighting in the early game and focus on getting your gear. Make sure you have access to a vehicle and loot in a location that can get you geared before circle number 2 shows on the map. Now that was the strategical and safe way to the early game. In the next strategy videos I will be going in depth on the mid game, late game and the end circle strategy too. I hope you liked it, and if you did, subscribe to the channel to catch the next video. And I'll see you guys next time.